The United Arab Emirates energy minister says he expects increased oil demand going into next year, given the enormous demands from data centers needed for artificial intelligence. The chief executive of UAE oil giant ADNOC says volatility due to geopolitics and near-term uncertainty was very real, but remains optimistic on long-term demand.
Oil will stay above 100 million barrels per day beyond 2040, increasingly used not just for mobility, but more and more for materials and petrochemicals. This all adds up to something far more complex than a single-path energy transition. What we're talking about here is reinforcement, not replacement.
Energy leaders are in Abu Dhabi for the ADIPEC Energy Conference. But increasingly, the energy industry is becoming far more than just about resources. Digital advances are forcing radical reorientations within the sector, or changes underscored by attendance by the UN Special Envoy for Digital and Emerging Technologies. I asked Amandeep Singh Gill how artificial intelligence is widening the divide between the haves and the have-nots.
This is our biggest concern, the concentration of wealth and tech power in a few hands, in a few geographies, and the leaving behind of vast sections of the world's population from the benefits of AI, while some of the risks might actually be loaded on unfavorably on the very same population. So this is a big risk, and energy requirements for AI are growing exponentially. So by 2040, the consumption of energy by data centers is expected to grow fourfold. And already in some countries, these data centers are pulling in more power than what households consume. And it'll soon start having an impact on electricity bills, and force governments and utilities to make choices between electricity used for other industries versus the tech industry. So obviously the world needs to generate more power, more energy is needed. And then there come choices in terms of, are we going to use carbon-free energy, or are we going to rely on fossil fuels and then reverse the progress that some of the progress we made in addressing climate change issues.
So the United Nations is urging collective concern and collective action so that individual countries or blocs do not put in place regulation that just serve themselves. Are you able to do that?
So we've made some good progress at the United Nations recently on governing AI for humanity, the setting up of an international independent scientific panel on AI, an inclusive global dialogue on AI governance where all 193 countries have a seat at the table and can play their role in shaping the AI future. We've also put the accent on this issue of the AI divide and what kind of measures the international community can take to invest in AI capacity in the 90 to 100 countries that are most at risk of being left out. This is not only a question of divide between the global north and the global south. Even within societies in the global north, there is risk of increased inequality, the haves and have-nots, rapid shifts in the job marketplace, which will, leave some people in a situation that's worse off than today. So it's a collective shared problem across the north and the south.
The rush now on the part of many countries to get in on the AI Act, the fear that they will be left behind, does that make you optimistic, pessimistic about regulation keeping up with science?
I think it's not helpful. I mean, there's FOMO, fear of missing out. So everyone wants to rush in, do something or the other. And when you rush, then, sometimes you make mistakes. You cut corners, or you make suboptimal choices. So I think we need to take a deep breath often, take a beat, and then think about what is most important in our own context. So for a country, is it important to develop its own large language model, or can it work off, large language models developed elsewhere through APIs, these interfaces, or, open source large language models that are already available, and then tune them on local data sets. So these are the kind of choices that countries need to be making. They also need to be investing in talent. So the skilling around AI, AI literacy, but also AI development skills, AI deployment skills, especially in SMEs and MSMEs, you need to retrain the workforce to allow it to work more with AI tools and applications. Each nation, each jurisdiction needs to make its own choices. And then it's very important to have the right use cases to lead the way. Sometimes this is in the area of government services, citizen-facing services. Sometimes it's in agriculture or in health. So those use cases, if they are done well, will earn the trust of the public, will also provide the investment signals to companies to come forward and invest.
In the short few years, what are the biggest mistakes we've made on artificial intelligence? Final question.
The biggest mistake I see is, not understanding what artificial intelligence is, what it can and what it cannot do. Because AI, it's not a good definition, sometimes approximates what we humans do. So it's an augmentation of certain human powers in a sense. So we mistake it for the kind of intelligence that humans have. But humans are creative, intelligent in ways which is very different from mathematical models, from the way AI is developed today. And we should deploy it as an augmentation of human power, human skills, human intelligence even, and not confuse it for what is the essence of human beings and which can never be replaced by machines.